So I'm just going to bring it down and put it back up. Actually, no, that'll break the link. Ha! Sod it, let's start. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Trailblazers Season 8 Group 4 Champions of Champions Final. Pop your ears, the pressure is rising. Cue the fanfare, put on a cup of tea, and sit down as I welcome PJ Mack, long-standing member of the community and member of Road 6 Racing. How you doing tonight, PJ?
Mr. Zambi, I am absolutely fabulous. Looking forward to this battle of the ages with Group 4s around our wonderful Australian racetrack at Bathurst.
Well, that's a cursed circuit for me. I was in the qualifying race for the Super Series and for Group 4. I came 8th on Tuesday, and I think I finished 10th tonight. So
that's
what happens when I don't practice as well. But anyway, I'm happy to be a part of it. As we are watching everybody warming up now as we're launching into the qualifier. So we're going to have 10 minutes ahead of us of qualifying on the medium compound of tyre. There is no fuel settings on board, so the cars are running as if there is no fuel on board. So definitely a weight that'll make make a difference on their straight line speed, cornering speed, and the influence that has on their tyre wear. We're going to have 10 minutes of qualifying and then 18 laps around the mountain. Sealsberger leads this little pack up the hill with Andy and Tony.
Just going to adjust my volume settings here because I appear to not be able to hear a word you're saying when I've got cars on track. So bear with me for a moment, I'll be back in a second.
Totally good. So Ando's right on the bumper of Seals. This is just the warm-up lap. Driver's looking to save as much fuel, and there's no fuel, save as much rubber as possible. Possibly jostle for track position as well. And they're all together. Ando, Seals, Tony, Mitch, Millsy, a late inclusion to the final. He'll be starting back of grid, I believe. I'm not sure. Joper as well, he's there. Look at this little pack, 2nd through 6th, bumper to bumper. Let's go on board with Joper. Let's hover behind Joper.
A little bit of contact there and amongst that little crowd. It'll be interesting to see how they give themselves some racing room by the end of Conrad Straight, to be honest.
Yeah, the way this is going to shake out. So we're going to update you with the results from the first race. So 7 drivers moved through from the B final early this evening, with Kez Audio, your Group B champion, followed by Donovan, All Aussie, Tricky Buer, Rick Reen, Robo Sport, and Tony Two Sips. All made the cut of the top 7 to feature in this race alongside Ando, Mad Mitch, Sealsberger, Millsy, Joper, and 2 others. Who else? Memes.
Memes.
Seals?
Yeah, I think you mentioned Seals already. We have 13 runners, so that makes sense. We are one short because, unfortunately, our fine feathered friend from across the ditch, Bruce the Shark, is unavailable. Which is a little bit of a shame, but that will be why we're running 13 in this final, because he came straight through from the blue lobby. So we are underway.
Okay.
And who's just hitting Hell Corner now to start his qualifying lap.
Well, Joper's ran it wide on his first lap.
Interesting to see if he gets a penalty for that.
So the other interesting conversation to be had here is the strategy.
Yes, I got the feeling on a little bit of practice stuff that I watched that there was a possibility with it being 18 laps of a no-stop race.
We did see that. I think about half the field no-stop. Maybe.
Oh, really? In the B final,
race?
half the field?
Yeah, maybe half the field, almost.
Wow. See, unfortunately, my team leader, Mr. Kez Audio, is the master of the fuel save, and still being quick.
Oh, he destroyed me in green split in GT4 all season. It was just it was me and him battling for first and second, and I just couldn't save fuel compared to him. And he always had me on no stops, and I'm like, I can't no stop this Lambo with the way I drive, with the setup I have. Nah.
Bit of a bit of a fuel guzzler, the old Lamborghini.
I can't short shift because I'm an auto scrub, you know, like my tyres go earlier than his do because I'm on a controller. It's like, I always get him in quali by like a tenth.
Yep.
And then he gets me on turn 1, and then I get him back on lap 1, and then he ends up getting me. It's brutal. He gets me on strategy every time. Anyway.
So we have Ando absolutely flying into Caltech's chase right now. Doesn't look to me like Mitch has made up much space during the lap, but I think it might be fairly close. The 8 times tyre wear in qualifying definitely brings out people that can manage their tyres well, especially given we've got 10 minutes of quali, it looks like. So they're going to get more than one lap in.
So here comes your quick fire update. So the time to beat from Ando is a 2:11.7 as Mad Mitch comes along 2:13 flat. Sealsberger with a 2:12.5. Tony and Millsy come across together. Tony with a 14.2, Millsy with a 13.8. Kez Audio with a 13.1. Donovan up into P6 with a 14 flat. Rick Green with a 14.6. That puts him in P8 so far. The RoboSport comes across the line with a 14.5. All Aussie with a 16.3. He'll be looking to improve on his second lap. Memes with a 12.5 puts him up into P3. And Tricky Brewer with a 13.5 puts him into P6.
So there's some reasonable showings there from the B group from the original race with Kez, Tricky up there. And quite relevant, as you would say, my friend.
Oh, relevant indeed.
So interesting to see if any of these guys can improve on their second lap. We did a bit of testing last night, and certainly the second lap on softs didn't actually turn out as bad. Sorry, on mediums, my apologies. Didn't turn out as bad as one would think. I think sometimes people think you only get one good hot lap in qualifying with 8 times tyre wear.
I think you can definitely get 2 out of it, yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely get a bit of an improvement.
Kez gets out of the... Tony gets out of the way. Kez coming down the mountain.
Of course, this is one of the worst time of days at Bathurst with the overcast skies and a little bit of a lack of grip, because whilst Ando putting in an 11.7 is an astounding lap time, I think he would be quicker on a sunny time. Now he is half a second down through the final sector. Memes looks like he's pitted actually and come out again because he's dropped right to the back of the pack. So a few more times coming across now. Let's see if we get any improvers. Sealsberger's gone to the pits as well. Whoa, Mitch has just about clipped the wall on the exit of the dipper.
Kez comes in. He's not going to put this lap on the board. Millsy's coming around the final corner. And so is Donovan.
And no improvement from Millsy.
Donovan puts himself up in the P6.
Whoop, and immediately knocked back by Rick Green.
Good job for Rick.
The father of Trailblazers eSport. 13.3 is a fairly respectable time in the Rex.
Oh, Aussie with a 14.1. Definitely more in the tank there from him. Potentially 2 more laps on the clock in qualifying.
And Tricky has jumped himself up into 6th now with a 13.3. So it looks to me like Ando is now on another hot lap. Heading across the top of the mountain at the moment.
On board with Ando. He's purple by...
Oh, and he's purple
11,000.
by one... Yeah. Or a little clip of the wall on the entry to the dipper. Might have backed him off a little bit. I have to remember, of course, that the vision doesn't go out exactly live, so... I don't want to be talking about things that have yet to occur in the future. So it looks like we're riding on board with Ando down Conrod right now. And he's dropped a tenth, nearly 2 tenths. Joper has put in a better time of a 13.8. That still leaves him down in 10th position though. Millsy 3,000th of a second behind him in 11th. Millsy's coming through the final sector marker at 1.2 seconds up. So Millsy has found time on the worn mediums.
Will Ando improve? Here he comes. No improvement. Next across the line will be Millsy.
Right, let's be watching Millsy because he is a long way up. This should put him up into the top 4.
I think he might start from the back anyway, though.
Okay. I can't say I've kept up on the Discord stuff today. And 4th position at 12.6 is a very competitive time.
Donovan improves, 13.3. Tony improves.
Really strikes me that we're going to have the Andy Sealsberger memes, and I would have assumed Joper in a BMW at the front of the field here. And then there's going to be a very good battle from Kez back from there, in my opinion. Tricky's put a 13.2 in now to bring himself up to 7th.
Well, the nature of these cars and this circuit, you might be able to, everyone might stay very close together.
Absolutely. Mitch with a 12.8. Up to 5th. That's a lovely time.
If the front of the pack can stay in touch with Ando after the pace that he's shown that he has.
Absolutely. And I believe we have a waving checkered flag. Or have we still got 2 minutes? No, we're definitely finishing the final lap. So Millsy across the top is 6/10 down.
Joper's going to finish his final lap. He's up at the moment. He's in P12 with a 13.8. Let's see what he can deliver. It's not bad. It's a 12.4. It's P2.
See, didn't I just say a second ago that I was expecting the BMW to be up there? Jumps in front of Sealsberger by a 10th.
Best of the rest. 7/10 behind Ando. As who's coming across the line? Ando himself. Is he up or down? 11.7. The time to beat to improve.
We've got
No
Kez
improvement.
coming down through the last sector. No, he's 2/10. He could pick up another position if he does a great final sector here. In the car that Kez affectionately calls the tractor.
Donovan and Rick, they don't improve either. Robbo, no improvement. Seals improves, puts it in the P2.
Jumps Joper.
12.1.
Kezi also improves to a... Oh, no, he doesn't. My apologies. He has stayed exactly where he is in 7th place.
And last
So
across
that
the line.
is...
Tricky.
Qualifier has ended.
Right. Here you go. I'll let you do the honours for the one lapper. These are intense.
Oh, do I get to say the first part?
Yeah, of course you do. You get to go for it.
All right. So this
These
is a
are
one-lap
crazy.
dash to reset so people can change their tyres and run their own strategy without being fixed to the medium tyre from qualifying. So this is a bit of a Trailblazer way of doing business to make it a bit more realistic.
Shake the dust out.
We've had a random person arrive in the room. It's a bit weird. Alright, so we are headed for a start here at Bathurst. Lights out and away we go. I've always wanted to say that. Brilliant start from the Rexes. Mad Mitch has had a bit of a fail there at the back, unfortunately. I'm not sure what's happened there. Everyone is... Oh, Millsy versus Tricky. There's a bit of buff and bash in the mid-pack there. I don't appear to be able to change cars right now, so I'm just going to jump out and come back in again.
And go back in. I had to do it too, unfortunately.
Kezi has jumped from 7th up to 4th, right in behind Memes. And we have a wide Ando hitting the ripple strip out of Griffins. We have a slight Murphy Ambrose going on. Nope, Power Memes has made it in front of him through the apex of the corner. Seals is sliding the old McLaren big time. Ando's got his nose alongside Power Memes. Joper is right up the back. They are absolutely cigarette papers between them at the moment across the top. Little gap back to Rick. Donovan. Aussie is right on the back of Mr. Donovan. Tony Two Sips has jumped from the back of the field up to 9th. Of course, unfortunately, none of these positions will go into the race because the qualifying obviously sets the grid for the main. Through the dipper, and Joper's a bit sideways, and we appear to have Ando into the wall. I think he'll be glad this race doesn't actually count to the final, because that's a big hit. So we now have Seal versus Memes with Kez Audio right on the back of the Aston Martin. Let's see whether or not the Rex can take advantage of the slipstream down Conrod. Seals appears to have a nice little gap there. Mind you, Kez will be fretting the tractors being left behind by the Aston, but let's see how he goes through the chase. Got a little bit closer. And Memes is off in the chase. Kez goes through. We are going to have an unusual, not Ando-led, Road Sick 1-2. I'm showing my bias for the team just a little bit, I guess. So, in the one-lap dash, we have Seals crossing the line.
Carries a 2-second penalty across the line.
Oh, Kez has won! I didn't notice the penalty.
What a drive from Kez. It's chaos at the line.
Joper 10th, Sealsberger, Mr. Donovan, Rick, Aussie, Tony, Ando brings it in 9th. No, 8th. Oh, it all went too fast.
What a race.
What a race. And I think I've just proven that I should never commentate on my own.
No, you did a great job.
So, there is Kez, and we'll now have a short break while the boys go and get the pit crews working to put the correct tyres for their particular strategies on. We've got a mandatory medium tyre for the main race here tonight. No problems at all. So the guys have to run a single full lap on the medium tyre. If they wish to do a no-stop, they have to run the medium for the entire event. With 18 laps, I don't think there's a lot of cars here that will be able to make full race distance without having to make a stop for fuel. The tyre and fuel settings for the main race are 3 times for each. Maximum tyre is a racing soft, minimum tyre is a racing hard, and as I say, they must run the medium. We'll take a bit of a break here and grab a drink, and we will be back in a minute.
Do we have an imposter on circuit?
Yeah, we appear to have a person who has now just left.
He's gone.
I'm not sure who Teonesis is, but maybe a friend of one of the racers in tonight's event.
So, Kezi took it. Seals. Ando was in trouble. Seals carried a penalty across the line. Shows anything can happen. Obviously, there was a... Okay, this is telling. We can look at tyres now. Seals is starting on the softs. Millsy is starting on the softs. That's all we know so far. Everyone else is on mediums. So the mandatory tyre compound is compulsory this race. You have to take the mediums. At least for 1 lap.
So it will be interesting to see. I believe that Kez can do a no-stop. I believe Ando can do a no-stop. I have to wonder whether or not everybody else running mediums is thinking the same way, with the possibility of changing, if required, to a much softer tyre. That will probably... I have been fiddling with this, and it's about 1.5 seconds between the medium and the soft. Obviously, the wear comes into it. One of the things that Kez doesn't like about the tractor, aka the WRX, is that it does have a tendency to push its front tyres fairly hard.
Well, it's
So it will be interesting to see.
What is it? 15 to 20 seconds just for tyres. So on the thick end of it, but it's a shorter pit stop because of the amount of distance it covers than some other places. So it does make the pit stop viable. But what do you see?
It does make it viable. I guess one of the risks here with the pit stop is that there is a very easy to receive penalty on the entrance to the pit.
Ugh, that's rough, isn't it?
So it is one of the most complicated pit entries, probably seconded by the very fast sweeper at Fuji. And I know the one at the Nürburgring also catches a few people out. And the Auto Polis is probably the other one that's really similar to this one, where there is a very tight corner into the pit lane. And if you end up...
Sorry, you go.
No, you're right. If you howl your way into that, you are going to end up with a penalty.
There's a fantastic anecdote for that pit entry. There is a race that exists, there's a video of it on my channel from the old from when we used to run under Trans-Tasman. The first time Autopolis came up, we did it came up in a sprint night, and everyone just didn't count the amount of laps, and everyone came in on the last lap, and everyone got disqualified. And like the people that like 3 or 4 guys at the back all like came first 4, but then it was also chaos because of the nature of the pit lane. So.
Amazing. So we've just got the message that Kez is about to kickstart the race. We're on a better time of day now with a bit of sun, bit of broken cloud. I believe this is one of the earlier, late afternoon, judging by the direction of the sun, because we are here in the southern hemisphere.
Ando's on softs as well. Power Memes is on softs as well. There you go.
And Seals is on softs. So there's been a bit of a change. There's definitely going to be some stops in this race.
Well,
Over
that
to
means...
you, sir. I will... You take the race start now, my friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Season 8 Group 4 Trailblazers Champions of Champions final around Mount Panorama. It's Ando, Seals, Joper, Seals, Ando, Memes, Joper, Millsy, Mitch, Kez, and Tricky are your top 8. It's taken over 30 races to get these 13 drivers on circuit, and it's lights out and away we go at Mount Panorama. Ando leads the field from Sealsberger down into turn 1 for the first time. Joper shows his nose and then thinks better. Ando hits the apex first. Sealsberger's run a little bit wide. Joper's going to have a little bit more momentum coming up the hill behind the two of them now. They're side by side coming up Comrade 2 by 2. It's off. Sealsberger's got the inside line and his nose is in front. Memes and Joper lurking behind, and the rest of the field extremely relevant as they head up into Griffins for the first time of asking Seals with the inside line and around the outside.
Oh, that's very similar to the sprint race that we just had. Ando's been mobbed there at the arrival at Griffins. Kez has jumped from...
Ando and Memes side by side into the cutting. Memes is going to try and go around the outside, but he can't do it. So Ando moves up a position and he's on the tail of Seals now. The whole field, bumper to bumper, coming up and over the top of the mountain. This is electric.
One of the people that hasn't had a very good start is Millsy, who's dropped from 5th on the grid to 10th. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I didn't see any contact.
It's the whole field in one camera shot.
Oh, a bit of kicking up, bit of dirt. Oh, Joper's very loose into the dipper. Mitch has made a little bit of room on him right now. But we have Ando following Sealsberger through Forest's Elbow. See how the Ferrari goes with the McLaren cutting the air in front of it.
It's one big slipstream train all the way down to the last position.
That is amazing.
Here comes Ando. It's gonna
Tyre field covered by 5.8 seconds. Let's see how many laps that lasts for.
Ando thinks better.
Oh, we have Rick Reen and Mr. Donovan were side by side through the chase. Oh, we've got a wide running Kez.
Everybody's struggling with that corner on cold tyres.
Of course, Kez is on the mediums. So is Joper. So is Mitch. The three front runners are all on softs, so let's see how big this gap between Power Memes and Mitch makes it as they head into Hell Corner for the second lap of the race.
Can I change? I didn't do the camera thing, my bad. There we go. There we are. Very good.
So I'd have to do the same thing.
So the front three, putting a gap, and then Mitch on the mediums at the front of the
This will be
train.
interesting. Millsy is also on softs. He's in ninth. Tricky Brewer, I can't speak this evening, is up the inside on the way into Griffins, and Millsy holds his line around the outside. Tricky is on the medium, so it was quite clear that Millsy had a bit more grip there. Kez is all over Joper. Joper, therefore, is also all over Mitch. This has a very similar look to the race at Spa-Francorchamps, where again Mitch ended up in front of Joper and had a little bit of trouble. Oh, and Mitch is in the wall. Joper's alongside him through onto Skyline. Kez is through as well. What a shame for Mitch.
Well, these three need to sort themselves out. They're the front runners on the medium compound. The front three are getting away on the softs, but they might slow each other down with their battle. So it's all about how much time these medium runners can save on the front runners with the tyre differential.
I get the feeling Kez will be using Joper's slipstream here. I don't think he'll actually want to take a bite out of him at this point. If he fuel saving,
lining it up again. Is he going to think about it?
Oh, Ando into the chase. Little tap on the ripple strip. No, I think he's also probably looking to save a bit of fuel behind his teammate there.
That's the thing, if these two save too much fuel, they're not going to get the tyre advantage of the soft compound.
Absolutely. Mitch has brought himself back into relevance right there behind Kez, but again, not quite sure that Murray's is the corner to be taking a dive on lap 2.
You just got to work out who's the quickest out of this pack. Let them lead. It's cycling all of a sudden.
Absolutely. It's like in the velodrome at the Olympics.
The front runners have made a break.
So Ando's clocked the fastest lap of the race on lap 2 at a 2 minute 12:186.
Almost close enough to make a move there into turn 2. Thinks better of it.
So
memes falling off the pack. Memes falling off the front too. That's Joper, Kez, Mitch. And the rest of the train filters up towards the cutting. That's about strategy.
Battle of the Ferraris at the very back of the field here with Robbo Sport and Road 6 own Master of Sound Tony Two Sips. There's a nice little group here at the back running from Rick Reen through Tricky, Aussie, RSR, Robbo Sport and Tony Two Sips. Interesting to watch them a little bit at the end and not forget about them, because hopefully it will be a competitive race. So we still have Ando right on the back of Sealsberger into Forest's Elbow.
Memes is much more relevant all of a sudden now, as the front two have been battling a little bit. Is that Seals defending perhaps, as the gap to the medium runners is 7.4 seconds. Ando again, is he going to think about it or is he going to wait? I haven't seen him make a move yet.
Kez and Joper right there. Unfortunately, it looks like Mitch has had another problem. And unfortunately, Mitch is running damage. He has front aero and a front right tyre. That might actually force
Kez goes around the outside at Joper and then up the inside of the chase.
Lovely move, Kez. All right, let's see what the Rex can do in front of the Beamer.
Kez 8.6 seconds off the lead. The front three, you can throw a blanket over at the moment. Ando seems quite content, sat behind his Road 6 teammate. Let's have a look at fuel right now. So Seals 76%, Ando's probably on about 77, Memes 78, 79, Kez, he's got the most. Kez and Joper, they're tied on fuel. Millsy's on 75. Kez and Joper look like they're in the 80s. Donovan as well looks good on fuel. So does Rick. So does Tricky. Aussie, he's down on 75%. So is Tony. We've got a pit stop as well. Mad Mitch in the pits getting rid of his damage.
Yeah, I thought that might change a strategy decision. I'm assuming he's going to put the softs on. They should last. Oh, Joper's very sideways out of the cutting, but still on Kez's tail. And they have a fast approaching Millsy on the softs.
So Ando got past Seals and we missed it. I don't know how the replay function works on this. What's the button?
Yeah, no.
I don't even know what the button is. I haven't even checked it yet.
I don't know. But yes.
Ando's getting away. 1 second
he's
already.
taken 1.2 seconds. I think there might have been an error from Seals there, to be honest with you. Whew, that was very close to the wall there for Ando on the entrance to Forrest's elbow. A little bit of trivia for you. Everyone, well, most people I hear call it Forrest elbow, because of course it's amongst the trees, made so famous by Dick Johnson, throwing Green's Tough into the hedge, nearly destroying himself as well as completely destroying the car. And it looks like Memes has had a run on Seals. Let's see what the braking is like. And Memes has made the pass on Sealsberger. Let's see how Seals copes with that. Back to my little story very quickly. It's actually called Forrest's Elbow, and it's named after a man. He was a motorcycle racer at the famous Bathurst Easter race meetings before they were unfortunately banned due to poor behaviour of certain members of society. Mr. Forrest, had a habit of doing what MotoGP riders now do and dragging his elbow through that corner. And so many people had seen him do this amazing feat that they named the corner after him. That is the last piece
has got Seals on the way up Conrad as well. My apologies.
You're alright, mate. That's the last bit of dad humour / trivia that you're going to get from me tonight, so you can relax now. I'm not going to do that again. Seals has definitely got pace enough to keep Memes in his sights. I have to wonder with them both on the softs.
Oh, bit of contact with the wall there as well.
And it appears that Memes is saving fuel better than the Ferrari and the McLaren at the moment.
Kez has much more than both of them. He's on. He's got enough fuel to go the distance. He's shown that now. Look at his tank.
Yeah, absolutely. Kez has a bit of company though in this soft running Toyota 86 of Millsy. Let's see what happens. Millsy is tapping the back of the WRX down through the dipper. It's quite clear here that Millsy will more than likely get him on the tyre advantage that he holds. But that was awfully close across Skyline. Oh, he went a little bit of showed him the front tyre on the way through Forrest's elbow. Let's see how the 86 goes against the WRX down Conrad. I get the feeling Millsy is going to make the move here, and he has gone on the inside. He is alongside now. Let's see what the braking between the two cars is.
That might be the right thing to do though from Kez, because now he can, if he can stay with Millsy,
he's going to save more fuel. Absolutely. Let's see what Joper has.
Millsy's on the soft tyre.
Yep. Kez is leaving himself in a very relevant position for the no stop if he pulls it off, and if he can get a lot of advantage behind Millsy here. This could be a brilliant outcome for
Seals
the road sick team owner.
Seals is still on the tail of Memes as they go up Mountain Straight on lap 6. Seals now 2.8 behind Ando. Ando's now put 2.6 seconds behind himself and Memes. So again, Seals and Memes can't fight each other too much, or they'll lose out. Memes has the most fuel and the most grip.
Yep. That's exactly what I was about to say. It's quite clear that the Ferrari and the McLaren are using the tyres a little bit more heavily than the Aston is. So it looks like the soft tyre is definitely providing an advantage for Kez. Sorry, for Millsy over Kez. He's pulled the gap out to just on a second.
Robbo's boxed. Off of the meds, onto the softs. He's now stopped to the end. He's gonna hope to get some track position and some heat into those soft tyres.
12 laps at 3 tyre wear is very doable around here.
Kez just in touch of slipstream. He just needs to keep it tidy down this final sector, and he'll benefit from being behind Millsy still. Not quite. I blew out the 1.5 as I spoke.
Kez is very rapid around here, so it'll be interesting to see how he sits and conserves, and as long as he can look after those tyres. And at the moment, he is showing a bit less wear than the people in front and behind. Double checking that Joper's on the mediums, yes, because I would have seemed like a bit of an idiot if he was on softs. That BMW
211.8 from Ando, and a 212.3 from Memes, 212.5 from Seal. So Ando still has the pace on those softs. 3 211s in a row compared to Memes 212, 212, 212. Ooh.
This is getting rather exciting with the two strategies running here.
That's the
So
that's the question.
Kez is now 18 seconds back.
18 seconds is the gap. Ando's got how much fuel compared to Kez? Ando's on like 52, 53% from the looks of it. And
Kez is still 70-ish.
I'm
just going to duck back down the back.
That's the thing, they have to stop.
Yes, the front four now all have to make a pit stop to change to the medium tyres. They do have to run a single lap. So they could run 17 laps on the softs and then pull in, but I actually don't think that's going to keep them relevant, to be honest, because the soft will eventually start dropping time.
So Kez might be he's in the prime strategy position.
Now going back down the
on
field,
the mediums.
We have a bit of a battle going here between Trailblazers team and server owner and Tony Two Sips in the Ferrari versus the WRX. Tony is all over Rick coming down into Forrest's elbow right now. He's a little bit loose.
They both didn't have ideal entries into Conrad.
No, absolutely not.
Here he comes. He's got so much more in the tank.
Unfortunately, he doesn't have more in the tank as far as fuel is concerned. Tony's at 50%, and Rick is at about 65%, I reckon. I wish I could check accurately. Be interesting to see now how Tony goes out in front to try and gap Rick. I get the feeling Tony's definitely going to have to make a stop. Joper is now all over Kez Audio. He's 3/10 across the start-finish line into Hell Corner.
It's definitely giving Kez something to think about now, but they can't fight. They can't fight yet.
I think if Joper took a chance, though, Kezi would fall back in behind him, and they would more than likely take a fuel. Kez would take a further fuel advantage by running the slipstream, but they seem happy at the moment. The fuel use between them is absolutely on point. They're identical. If anything, Joper's just used a bit more tyre. Whoa, Kezi rubs the wall a little bit on the entrance to the cutting. Hasn't made much of an impact on his speed, though. Out front, we now have a 4-second gap as Ando enters Forrest's elbow from Power Memes, and then another 1.2 seconds back to Sealsberger. Ando has used 45%, sorry, he's only got 45% of fuel left. Memes is still running a bit more, and Seals is identical to Ando. There is an 11-second gap now back to Millsy, and a 22-second gap back to the first medium runner, which is Kez Audio.
Kez has managed to fend Joper off coming down the mountain. He's in the
has gapped him
slipstream now. But, so how much... Oh, the front four have to come in. They're going to have to put fuel in the tank. We think a pit stop's worth, just with tyres, is 15 to 20, the thicker end of that. Let's say 20 seconds. So 25 to 30 for fuel?
I would say a splash and dash as such. With 10 laps to go, they've used a bit over half, so they're going to have to put probably a third of a tank of fuel in each. We're going to be pushing 32 to 34 seconds in the pits. So at the moment, that will still bring them out behind Kez. Unfortunately, it will bring them out on the softer of the two tyres.
25
Joker's
seconds
getting
for a full tank.
quite racy with Kez here on this lap. Kez had a little bit of an untidy Murray's to Hell's Corner section. But again, it looks like Joper's just going to sit there. Mr. Donovan is just floating there in the background. Don't count him out.
Still relevant.
I wasn't going to go there, mate.
That's
Could have, but I thought, I'll leave the relevance to you.
Well, Seals is at a moment. Across the top.
Oh, it looked like Memes had a bit of a moment through the dipper as well, but he's gathered it up. Unfortunately, the walls here at Bathurst are very unforgiving. With running full heavy damage as we do in Trailblazer, it is a very quick way to fall a long way down the field. Mando's pulled it out to 4.2 seconds. The three of them are running very close times the whole way through. In fact, I'm just looking at Power Memes' times here. He has done a 12.7, a 12.7, a 12.3, a 12.4, a 12.4. So his consistency is actually improving as the tyres wear. Ando has actually just dropped into the 12s, having run 11s. So he was 11.5, 11.9, 11.8, 11.9, 11.9 and 12.2. So that last lap. Oh, we have the first front-running stopper. Millsy's coming off the soft tyres. He has 31% fuel.
He's got
with
plenty...
8 laps to go.
Plenty of grip on the tyres. Plenty of fuel in the tank. Surely this is shooting himself in the foot. Too early, sir.
I would reserve the right not to say that. Millsy's made a decision. Let's see what comes of that decision for his 360 Motorsport car. This now into 10th. And the time for that pit stop hasn't shown up, but it has dropped him to 9th place, 45 seconds off the lead.
So keep an eye on that number.
Least 30. He was about 10 seconds back, so it's 36 seconds loss with the amount of fuel he put in, which has taken him up to 3/4 of a tank for the 8 laps remaining. So he's just in front of Tricky. This will be interesting to see whether or not Millsy pitting starts a few of the other 3 at the front to pit. We still have Kez at 27 seconds behind the leader. Ando's just holding that 4.2 second lead. Tyres are starting to look a little bit worn, about a quarter to an eighth, and he only has a quarter of a tank of fuel left. So I would say I would expect Ando to be in on lap 12 or 13.
Ando is still sat behind Kez.
What's going to be interesting is whether or not the front runners come out behind the Joe Paquez battle or behind the Mr. Donovan Tony Two Sips battle. So at the moment, Rick is 36 seconds back in 8th position. And then there's an 11-second gap back to Millsy. So if the front runners pitted in the next 1 or 2 laps, they are at risk of falling into the battles going on here, which might actually slow them down.
Kez and
Could
Joper
very
still
well
stay
be
out.
advantage Kez and Joper. We have Tony 2 sips into the pits. Working his way through the chicane, trying not to get a penalty. So he has run the mediums. He's got 25% fuel in the tank.
Kez has plenty of fuel.
Yeah, just under half for Kez. As I said, mate, he is the master of keeping speed consistent and saving quite a volume of fuel. So comparing his laps to the leaders, obviously he's in the 14s, but he's consistent in the 14s. There's only 2 laps in the 15s, and they're both 15.1 and 15.3. We look back at Joper, and he's also sitting in the 15s, and we appear to have lost Rick Reen.
Oh, devastating.
That looks like a DC for Rick Reen, which promotes up Millsy to 7th from 8th, Tricky, Mitch to 9th, Aussie, Sipsy and RSR. So Tony's come out in 11th spot, 11th, can't speak, and he has 3.5 seconds on all Aussie in front. Tony, of course, now on a soft tyre with less than a full tank of fuel. Should be interesting to see how he can get his lap times down. Back to the front here, and I'll see whether or not my theory is correct. And yes, Ando is progressing to lap 12. So I think it's possible that we'll have a pit stop either this or the next lap from the leader. We're still banking on over 35 seconds in the pits with fuel. That still puts him towards Mr. Donovan.
It's got about 20% left, so we can still do another... What, like 3 laps?
He could do it. Stretching it, it might be 2 laps. Actually, I just want to have a look at his lap times.
Still think it's going to be quicker than the mediums.
He is.
I might really stress this out.
12.2, 12.2, 12.2. You cannot fault the man for not being consistent. He has lap 9, 2.12, 2.79, lap 10, 2.12, 2.35, and lap 11, 2.12, 2.51. He is within hundredths of a second. That is absolutely unbelievable. Of course, the man flies incredibly large pieces of tin around in the sky for a living. So it is quite possible that his analytical approach to flying also relates back to his analytical approach to racing. A little puff of dirt up from the rear left tyre of the Ferrari through the S's before the dipper. And we're heading down now back into Forest's Elbow with Ando, or I should say I am. Looks like Joper's had a bit of a run on Kez out of the cutting too. The gap out to Ando has pulled out to 6.4 seconds, so we might have missed a little moment for power memes.
Seals is definitely closer as well. Oh, he's still 1.5 seconds.
This little battle with Kez and Joper could be going to heat up, because I think Joper might realise that if he doesn't get Kez, that he might actually be ruining his strategy. And it does appear though that
they've now hit the 35-second marker.
Yep, Joper is has a little bit more fuel, which is probably related to the fact that he's been running in the slipstream for as long as he has. So it wouldn't surprise me that if Joper goes past, Kez might just lock in behind him. And
Seals
we have Seals in the pits. Oh, that might be a penalty. Oh, I really hope it's not, but it is a possibility. 5% fuel left on the softs. Let's see if he comes out in front of or behind Mr. Donovan. I'm pretty sure he's still going to be ahead of Millsy. Just going to check on Millsy's times. Millsy's last lap was a 2:14. He's had a very poor lap 11. Lap 10 was a 2:11, which I believe was an outlap.
Ooh,
Okay.
here we go.
Oh, Sealsberger's come out right in front of Kez Audio in the Joper battle.
I think they're both going to have the run on him up the hill. They should have enough pace. Just. Maybe not quite. Not
No, look
quite.
at that McLaren go, and here comes Joper though. He knows that if he doesn't get past Kez here, he's not in the race. Will he make it alongside enough? And it looks like he has, but Kez with the all-wheel drive around the outside. Whoa, a bit of a slide from Joper. That all-wheel drive advantage that the WRX holds has made Kez lead into and through the cutting. It looks like we were about, I would say, 2 seconds over those 13 laps. They needed to be faster. So I would say having the two of them so close together has actually hurt their strategy a touch. Joper is really hunting Kez now. See, we've got Ando and Memes are heading down into the chase at the moment. Just looking at the track map. Kez through the dipper. He's gapped a little bit to Joper. Joper's hurting his front tyres chasing this hard. He certainly has more tyre wear than Kez. Oh, he's had a better exit out of Forest's elbow. This should be interesting. In the box. He slips through, and Ando is in the box with 2 laps of 2 cent, fuel remaining. Memes is also in the box, and he's saved fuel. He's got 8%. I don't think that's going to be a big enough gap to get Memes out in front of Ando, though.
Kez and Joper are side by side. Joper's now made the move down the end of Conrod Straight before they hit the chase. This is the question now. Where does Memes and Ando come out in comparison to Seals, Joper and Kez?
Fuel out of Ando's car, and he's leaving the pits on the mediums.
That's a quick stop.
That is a very quick stop. Ando has returned to the track, still 5 seconds ahead of Memes, and with Sealsberger 4.8 seconds behind. So it looks like the superior strategy has won out again. Interesting to see what happens with Joper and Kez now. Mr. Donovan is right on them as well, or at least coming into relevance, and only 1.2 behind Kez Audio.
That's the battle at the moment, Kez and Joper. Memes has a job to do over the last 5 laps.
Millsy would have to be very disappointed with with his laps after pitting, because he is not at all keeping the pace that he had before the pit stop. He's being hounded by Tricky Brewer a little bit, and he's got a 10-second gap to Mr. Donovan, who's just hit the wall hard out of McPhillamy Park. Does he have damage? No, he's got away with that. I don't know how. Kez is all over Joper like a rash down through the dipper. The handling of the WRX coming to the fore. I just fear the BMW's got the legs down the straight, which might... Oh! Joper into the wall. Kez is right on him on the start of Conrod. Let's see whether Rex with a toe can make some advantage on Joper. I think this is definitely now a battle for the position that doesn't make the steps on the podium. I don't think there's much of a chance of them getting up onto the podium spots with the 3 out the front.
They've driven within a second of each other since the start of the race almost, which is unreal.
Oh, Kez under brakes. Whoa, that was very, very close, but no contact. Great racing, gentlemen. This is, however, bringing Mr. Donovan closer to them the more they battle. Kez might have given himself a bit of a fright there. The gap's opened out to 7/10. Oh, Joper widen in the dirt on the exit of Murray's corner. Kez is back in 2/10. Joper's moved over.
So he's going to take a defensive line into turn 1.
Joper's moved under the braking. Joper's trying to break the slipstream. Going up Mountain Straight. How amazing just one tiny error out of Murray's corner has created the opportunity for Kez to hound him again. This is definitely the battle of the field at the moment. Just getting my breath back for a second. We have a 7-second lead at the front of the field with Memes, then Sealsberger another 3 seconds behind that, but all the action is happening and Mr. Donovan is right in this now. It is a BMW Subaru BMW sandwich of two Triple R cars with a road sick in the middle.
Big collision on the wall from Kez.
Kez has given the wall a bit of love.
He's got
and
damage.
He has damage. No. No,
runs it off the wall. Runs it off the top of the...
Oh, I'm so disappointed. And he's managed to end up with a 5.5 of a second penalty as well, as if the damage wasn't enough. I'm gutted for the team boss. I really am. He loves this track. He dislikes this car greatly, so he will not be happy about driving the tractor to a possible 6th place finish with 3 laps to go. My apologies, I can't do maths on the fly. So, can Mr. Donovan, who appears to have better tyres and a little bit more fuel, make an impact on Joper? As Sealsberger has bugged out, there is 8 seconds between Joper and Seals. I'm just going to scroll back down through the field here for a sec. Kez has come out of the final turn to perform his penalty burn. Under the regulations, he must move to the left side of the track here, engage second gear, and burn the penalty before the start-finish line. So that now pushes Kez to 3.8 seconds behind Mr. Donovan.
I'm not using the slipstream up the top of up the hill. What was that about?
Wasn't sure who you were watching then, mate, to be honest. Who wasn't using the slipstream?
Donovan and Joper. Donovan wasn't in Joper's slip. He moved out of his slip all the way up the hill. That was interesting.
Donovan moved or Joper moved?
I think Joper moved and Donovan just didn't follow him.
Just didn't follow. Yep.
He's closed the gap already, though. Whoa,
oh, he's in
the wall.
Donovan's... Oh, there's more contact. Is there any damage for Mr. Donovan? No, they've both got away with that. The BMW is a very robust car. Down the back of the field here, and I hate to be focusing on my road sick brethren, but Tony Two Sips is keeping Aussie fairly honest here, with Tricky Brewer a fairly substantial 14 seconds in front of them. But it looks like the action's continuing with Joper and Mr. Donovan into Conrod Straight.
That gap decreasing. It was 5/10. He's going to be there. He's going to make a decision. Little lift. Thinks again. Thinks better of it.
Didn't send it. With just 2 laps of the track remaining, we have probably 2 battles on the field. We have 4th and 5th with Joper, teammates and identical cars, Joper and Mr. Donovan. And the other possible final lap dash will be between Tony Two Sips in the Ferrari for Road Sick Racing and Mr. All Aussie for RSR Racing for 9th and 10th.
So Donovan's in the slipstream now. This time he's going to look to line him up into Griffin's. Not quite this time, I don't think.
Donovan definitely has protected his tyres better, there's no question of that, by probably 30%. There is a massive difference between these tyres. Oh, Mr. Donovan's touched the wall a little bit on the inside of the cutting. Hasn't slowed him down much. Oh, he was rubbing the mirror on the wall there, coming up into Solomon. Joper is a notoriously difficult man to pass. He doesn't give any quarters. So this will be a very interesting battle, probably coming to a culmination at the the Caltex chase at the end of this lap.
Oh no!
Oh, we've got contact. Oh, did they actually touch? One of them touched the wall. I think it was actually Joper, and then Donovan had to take a dive to avoid. That's bumped the gap out to 1.3 seconds. What an absolutely terrible outcome for Mr. Donovan.
He's got a front aero and front right suspension damage now as well. Well, that might be it. He's got better tyres, but he's lost the slipstream and he's picked up damage.
You cannot win the race with damage around here. Ando has just sat at that gap of 8.5 seconds to Power Memes. All three, including Sealsberger, have the same amount of fuel on board. I think that is probably going to be the finishing order. Joper undamaged, but running quite short on fuel. Mr. Donovan has picked up 2/10 at the end of the lap here, even though he's got damage. Seems to have a fair bit of understeer in that chassis now.
Oh, here's Millsy. He's got up the inside of Kez.
Has gone up the inside of Kez into Murray's corner, but has Kez got a run on him back down to the end? He has to make it alongside the windscreen pillar. No, Kez chooses against it on the final lap of the race. I'm not sure that the Rex is going to have the legs to draft Millsy up the hill. Mr. Donovan and Joper is probably over with 1.3 seconds, so let's head back up to Andy, who has yet again shown a brilliant strategic approach to the race as he heads across to Skyline and through the S's at the last time of asking. I never thought I'd say that.
And he's
and
purple.
He's posted purple on the final lap on the harder tyre. His little twitch through the dipper. Be interesting to watch his next sector time. He is on it. He's pulled a second on this lap so far. It's 9.4, nearly 9.5 seconds as he joins Conrad Straight. And even my cat wants to get in on the action. Shush. We are 9.46 seconds from... And he's purple again by 5/100ths of a second. Is he going to post the fastest lap of the race on their last lap of the race on racing medium tyres? He has very little fuel remaining. We've only got the run down now to Murray's corner. Gets the braking right. We could have a fastest lap. And a little touch of the grass, but it hasn't affected him too much. Gets the power down. And do we have the fastest lap of the race? Yes, we do. A 2:11.505. 7/100ths of a second fastest lap on the final lap of the race.
Whoa!
Memes crosses the line 9.6 seconds back, and a brilliant ride by Sealsberger for third place. Joper is running on fumes into the last corner.
Great drive from Joper to come across in fourth position after being in very close proximity to some people all race.
Mr. Donovan, followed by Millsy, followed by Kez, who will probably be fairly disappointed with that drive. Bit of bad luck there with the damage to the car. Tricky Bureau brings in an 8th. Tony got Aussie on the last 2 laps. Well done, Mr. Two Sips. I'm impressed. Aussie crosses the line in the Jag. And then we have Mad Mitch slowing because he's out of juice as he rolls over the line. No fuel in the tank at all there. The fumes were all gone as well. You'll have to talk to Sebastian Vettel about how to fuel save, or maybe not. And we have a little bit of a gap back to the Ferrari of RSR Robosport to cross the line at the end of the A final of Season 8 of Trailblazers eSport.
So Ando does the double. The season champion of the Super Series on Tuesday night takes the cake again in the GT4 category, and second
Fastest
again.
lap.
Power Memes. See, first and second on Tuesday in the Super Series, first and second tonight in the Gr.4.
An unbelievable,
And of course, the fastest lap on the last race. That was unreal.
absolutely incredible drive. Congratulations, Ando. Well driven Memes. And I believe that brings us to the end of the evening.
Absolutely, that was fantastic. What a great race. What a great
Mate,
night.
thank you for inviting me in, my friend. I was disappointed you didn't make the final, but I'm glad you were here so that we could bring the
Oh,
race
good.
to the people.
I did not run in GT3, so I can chip in tomorrow night as well.
Well, I've taken the very lucky situation of because we've lost Bruce the Shark for the finals week. It's actually put me up into the Gr.4 final. Unfortunately, I am driving the most recalcitrant car to drive around Bathurst in the Ford GT. This was a serious error of judgment on my part. I won't do that again. I will not be picking the Ford GT ever again. It is quite good in a straight line. It's just a little bit hairy across the top and down through the dipper especially. There is lots of walls. It will be very interesting. I'm glad I don't have to qualify for the final from the lower lobby because I am the 7th driver in the top lobby. So it will be an interesting evening tomorrow night, and I look forward to watching the replay back with your commentary, mate. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, no worries. So this has been PJ and Dan Zambi from Trailblazers. This has been the Season 8 Gr.4 Thursday night Champions of Champions final. Your top three with Ando taking the cake, Power Memes and Silsberger in third. Tune in next time. Tune in tomorrow night for the Gr.3 Champions of Champions final series. We'll have two races under commentary. The qualifying race and the final.
And unfortunately for Ando, due to a couple of missed rounds, he actually isn't running tomorrow night.
Oh, so he's not going to get the treble, so we're going to have somebody else take the Gr.3.
We're going to have a new winner in the Gr.3 category. So maybe you want to invite Ando in for some of his dulcet tones in supporting commentary, mate.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Get the pilot, the pilot voice.
Better hit him up on the Trailblazers esports Discord. And of course, everyone can jump over to www.trailblazeresport.com.au to have a look at what we do here at Trailblazers.
Come on down.
Mate, I'm signing off. It's been a pleasure. Talk to you very soon, my friend.
Pleasure. No worries. So from PJ, from Dan, and from Trailblazers, we'll see you tomorrow night.
Cheers,
Ciao.
mate.